very good morning I bid to Dr. Yas, and I hope you are safe and well during this pandemic. We will now proceed with our group presentation. Our group consists of me, myself, Isaac, Zainul, and Nashran. So the question is, critically discuss the above quote and the role played by a regulatory body in Malaysia that governs the auditors and audit practices, and evaluate how such regulation could strengthen the quality of audit services. So I'll be discussing the first part of the question, which is to discuss the quote critically. Here, we have broken down the quote to 5 elements that make up auditing, which is the setting of the standards, their formal adoption, their implementation in practice, the monitoring of compliance, and enforcement procedures. We will discuss these quotes generally and how some of them apply in Malaysia. The first element is setting of standards. Generally, with regards to development of auditing standards in Malaysia, the Malaysian Institute of Accountants, MIA, a member of International Federation Accountants, is responsible in developing the Malaysian Approved Standards of Auditing, MASA, which adopts the Modified International Standards of Auditing, ISA. According to World Bank 2011, the national auditing standards are known as Malaysian Approved Standards of Auditing, MASA. MIA has the responsibility for setting auditing and ethical standards in Malaysia. Next, the Audit Oversight Board, AOB, incorporated into Securities Commission Act, by virtue of the Securities Commission Amendment, is responsible for ensuring and enforcing compliance with auditing and ethical standards by public interest entity auditions and require MIA to amend those standards. Furthermore, it is claimed by World Bank the Securities Commission Act provide the legislative authority for AOB right to setting auditing standards in relation to audit of public interest entities. Also, it empowers the AOB to direct MIA to establish or amend the auditing and ethical standards to be compiled by an auditor. Generally, the accounting and auditing profession in Malaysia is well developed and is said to be in line with international standards. The next element is formal adoption. Adoption is not a one-time effort. Adoption requires ongoing support to keep standards and best practices up to date. This is a resource-intense multi-stakeholder endeavor, requires expertise and adequate infrastructure. IFAC member organizations provide this expertise through multiple means. Firstly, by anticipating local needs. So this will ensure the firms will adopt standards that are suitable and based on the laws and regulations of that country. Next, by regular self-assessments and benchmarking to identify any closed gaps. IFAC member organizations maintain effective investigation and discipline, regular reviewing their system and responding to public interest needs. This will also improve trust and transparency, as well as simultaneously initiating legislative amendments to make substantive changes for the future. And next, participate in public consultation process. IFAC member organizations play essential roles in the international standard setting process by contributing necessary local and regional perspectives during public consultations. The third element is implementation in practice. We relate key audit matters in implementation as how the auditors use the standards and how they disclose it in their financial report. The purpose of communicating key audit matters is to enhance the communicative value of the auditor's report by providing greater transparency about the audit that was performed. So in determining key audit matters, the audit takes into account areas of high assessed risk of material misstatement or significant risk identified in accordance with ISA 315, and significant auditor judgment relating to areas in financial statements that involve significant management judgment, including accounting estimates that have been identified as having high estimation uncertainty. And lastly, the effect on the audit of significant events or transactions that occurred during the period. The description of each key audit matters in auditor's report shall include a reference to the related disclosures, if any, in the financial statements, and will be addressed. The next element would be the monitoring of compliance. Ongoing auditing and monitoring efforts shall include interviews with management responsible for operations, reviews of medical and financial records and other source documents as deemed necessary that supports claim for reimbursement in order to ensure accuracy of claims. So some examples are compliance with laws, regulations, policies, procedures, and the code of conduct, compliance with specific rules and policies that have been the focus of particular attention by third-party payers, regulatory agencies, areas of concern identified by internal processes including the hotline operation, external audit ethics, areas of overpayments, discovered as a result of the ongoing auditing and monitoring will be disclosed to the Management and Legal Counsel, and also when monitoring disclosed program deficiencies, appropriate immediate corrective action measures shall be implemented. And the last element would be the enforcement of procedures. The AOB imposed prohibitions against the auditor for failing to carry out their roles as EQCR partners effectively, and withdrew the recognition of a recognized foreign audit firm and individual auditor. The EQCR partner plays an important role in the quality control process of an audit and is key to safeguarding audit quality. The actions of the EQCR partners reinforces the gatekeeping responsibility in an audit engagement. The enforcement actions imposed commensurated with the nature and severity of the matter. AOB imposed stricter action in cases of multiple instances of failure to perform audit procedures, failure in key audit areas, failure to cooperate and provide accurate and timely information to the SC, and failure to remain fit and proper, and failure to comply with ethical standards. So these are some of the enforcement actions: revocation of registration, withdrawals of recognition, prohibitions, and reprimands.
So first, we have to know who are the audit regulatory bodies in Malaysia. So in Malaysia itself, there are three regulatory bodies that regulate audit professions. There is MIA, known as Malaysian Institute of Accountants. There are SEMs, known as the Securities Commission Malaysia, and also they have a SSM, known as Suruhanjaya Syarikat Malaysia. So what is MIA? What is the functions? So MIA is a national accountancy body that regulates, develop, support, and enhance the integrity, status, and interest of the professions in Malaysia. So MIA is the only accountancy body empowered by law to regulate the accountancy profession in Malaysia, thus making the MIA membership is mandatory for those who are holding themselves out and also practicing as an accountant in the country. So MIA membership encompasses both legal and market recognitions for accountants in Malaysia. So we move on to the Securities Commission Malaysia, known as SEM. So SEM is responsible for conducting QA, quality assurance review of an audit firms that are registered with SEMs and audit policy interest entity. They are the one who undertakes inspections and take action, including sanctions against audit firm and registered audit for non-compliance with relevant auditing and also ethical standards. So we move on to the SSM. SSM, who are the one who are responsible for registration the audit firms, the monitoring of changes in the audit firm, and approve companies' auditors, and also monitoring the resignation or the removal of the auditor. So we move on to the next slide, where we talk about the role regulators bodies that govern the auditors in Malaysia. So there are two aspects that in regulatory bodies in Malaysia, which are surveillance and also enforcement. So in this slide, we are talking about surveillance that is functional to provide an independent oversight to monitor the auditors of PIEs in carrying out their duties in accordance with the auditing and ethical standards and also legal requirements. So there are several practices that regulators do in governing auditors in Malaysia. So the first one, we have a practicing review program known as PRP. The practice review program is a process where the standard and the procedures of the members' audit practice are assessed to ensure that they are in compliance with the professional standards, legal, and also regulatory requirement. So practice review departments understand that the challenges facing the audit professions are both complex and humorous, which could exert great pressure on the audit firm to keep pace with the development in auditing standards and also regulation, as well as attract and retain clients. So we move on to the second practice, which is financial statement. So second practice that regulators do in govern all the auditors is financial statement review. So it is to help regulate the practice and strengthen the credibility of accountancy professions in Malaysia. So the review of the financial statements are carried out by the Financial Statement Review Committee, known as FSRC, a committee which is who is established by the Council of Institute as empowered under the Accountants Act 1967. So primary objective of this committee is to monitor the quality of financial statements that are and also reports that are prepared by or who are responsible of the members of the institutions for the purpose of determining compliance with statutory and also other requirements that was approved by accounting standards and also auditing standard in Malaysia. So we move on to the third one is continued professional education compliance. SPE known as a practice that applicable to all professional accountants regardless of sector and size of the businesses which they operate. So CPE audit is conducted by the Institute of on the sample of professional accountants who are selected at random for institute record. So during each CPE audit, the randomly selected professionals accountants may be required to produce evidence of their compliance with the CPE requirements. As such, all the professional accountants are required to maintain records of their compliance with CPE requirements less than 5 years. So we move on to the second aspect so on the second aspect, we talk about the enforcement. So serious violation in relation to the practice review from the previous slide matters has occurred, a complaint shall be lodged to the investigation committee known as IC. So in IC, investigation committee shall integrate the complaints made by the individual or the organizations, and if it's found that the sufficient due to the matter, the IC will result to the case to the chairman of the IC, chairman of the investigation committee, and refer the complaint to the disciplinary committee to take action. This is where the disciplinary committee will impose the action toward the guilty. Disciplinary punishment under the previous of MIA, disciplinary number 2 rules 2002. So A, the name of the members to be removed from the register and shall be ceased to a member of MIA. So that is A. So B, rules 2002, B, suspended the member of a period not exceeding 3 years. C, the order purchasing certificates of the member shall be cancelled, and D, impose upon the member a fine not exceeding 5,000 ringgit. Order the member to admonish, share, and reprimand. And L, ordered the member to pay MIA such sum if deemed fit and reasonable in respect of costs and expenses of an incident to any disciplinary hearing from the DC and any investigation conducted by the investigation committee. Or G, order the member to attend a course instruction approved by the DC for a period amount of a time. So that are the two aspects of the role that regulatory bodies that govern how they are governed the auditors in Malaysia, which will be enough, the surveillance and also enforcement.
Let's move to the last question, which is how does MIA's regulation strengthen the quality of audit services? MIA introduces the Practice Review Program, which is short form for PRP. The PRP has been alleged that practice review is investigative in nature, and owing to this perception, practitioners are wary of submitting their firm to practice review. One of the outcomes of practice review is the increased awareness as to where the practice is positioned in terms of their level of compliance and competence. Let's say if there is any shortcomings and deficiencies in their audit practice, they will be advised accordingly so that they can make improvements. Firms and practitioners will not be penalized at first instance of failure of their practice review, and no action will be taken against any firms and practitioners if appropriate remediation steps are implemented to correct the weakness in the audit practice by the time of their follow-up review. MIA has done a survey for this program, which is PRP, and revealed that 90% of the respondents indicate that practice review is effective in enhancing the audit quality of their firms, as opposed to 49% of practitioners who were of the opinion that practice review is fault-finding. PRP confirms members' obligation to maintain, apply, and observe the standards promulgated by the Institute. Not to mention that PRP also enhanced the confidence of the business community in our members' standard of professional work. This quality assessment program will drive consistency and raise the bar on audit quality, thereby underpinning public confidence in the accountancy profession. Next is the Quality Assessment Program, which is the short form is QAP. QAP is a new initiative for improving the quality of audit among small and medium practices, which is SMP. A joint collaboration between MIA and MICPA since the first signing of the QAP agreement on 25th of October 2016. The QAP signals the commitment of MIA and MICPA to continuous improvement of the audit quality of SMPs in Malaysia. How does QAP works? The QAP is a structured review by reviewers appointed by MICPA from an MIA member firm. The entire firm's review will consist of two parts that are a review of the company's compliance with the International Quality Control Standard, which is ISQC 1, and a review of the documentation of at least one completed audit engagement. SMPs participate in the QAP on a voluntary basis and are intended to be educational in nature. The review is to be carried out at the premises of the firms. The QAP reviewers will submit a report on the results at the end of the evaluation period, and updated firm will include and suggested implementation remedial action plans. The QAP is designed to facilitate continuous improvement of audit quality in Malaysia and to assist audit firms in evaluating compliance with relevant auditing standards and MIA regulations in relation to audit commitments of financial statements prepared in accordance with relevant accepted accounting standards and the Companies Act 1965 or the Companies Act 2016, as the case may be. This will improve and strengthen the quality of audit services.